Hello and welcome to episode 117 of Mating Habits of the Modern Geek. I'm your host, Kelly Hightower, and if you are a $10 level Patreon, you can see that I'm joined by Joe Hogan. Hey, Joe.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Great. Good.
Yeah, this is we've been meeting a lot over the computer here in the last couple days, but I haven't been able to see you while we've been doing it.
Right. No, it's been a very long time. Once this is all done, I need to go to you or you need to come out to us because it's been forever.
I've got to figure out when BlizzCon is because there may be an opportunity for me to fly to Vegas in November. And I figured
Okay.
what I might do is fly to Vegas, stay a day, fly out, see you guys, and then fly out from Palm Springs back home. You know,
Oh,
just
that'd be so much fun.
even if just to see you guys for a day,
Yeah.
because I miss you
Yes, you do.
guys. And Palm Springs is a beautiful place. It's not bad work if you can get it. Um, so so what's been going on with you? What's happening?
Well, just a lot of RPG podcasting. You and I
Yes.
are on As the Dice Roll Together, but
Hmm.
you're in one of three campaigns that are going on right now. Two are being published currently, and then
Right.
once I go on my spring break, I'll edit together the third one and it'll join the rotation. But it's fun because it brings all these people together on the network and from outside the network, and so that's been fun. But it is it's
That's a
a lot
lot.
of editing.
That's a
It's a
lot.
lot of editing, but it's like every week I get a little bit quicker at it, and
Hmm.
so when I'm trying to put it off. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. I kind of know when my cutoffs are. Like,
Yeah.
this is the point of no return. If you don't start now, you're not going to get it
Right.
done.
It's that snooze math, like when you can be horrible in
Yes,
math, but you wake up and it's like, oh, it's 6:58, which means I have exactly 11 minutes and 45 seconds before I have to get up, or I won't be able to get to work on time. Yeah.
that's exactly it. So, and it's fun. It's fun because I'm editing stuff from audio from back in like September, October.
Hmm.
Because the whole thing when I agreed to do that editing part of this was that we had to get ahead of the game because I wanted to make sure I could get ahead of the episodes when I needed to. And
Right.
so it's fun to go back and listen to stuff that you haven't listened to in a couple of months, and I just start laughing because it's like I forgot we did that.
We have made, especially in the campaign that you and I are in together, we've made some decisions. I don't know if they're good decisions or if they're bad decisions, but some decisions have been made.
Our GM just is like, I have no idea what they're doing.
Poor Todd. Todd's so great. Yeah, no, what's interesting, you mentioned the network, and I'll go
Mhm.
ahead and get out my big news. So I don't know if you knew this, but OG listeners will remember I used to be a member of something called the Wicked Radio podcast network.
Mhm.
And it was a terrible experience because I was courted. Like they were like, come be on this network and we'll get you views and it'll be great. You'll be part of our you'll go out on a live radio station once a week. And it ended up being none of that. It was false promises. And I had their little logo on my website for
Mhm.
for like years. And I got nothing from it. And I was really no way to participate with any of the other members. I mean, it was a hodgepodge of stuff. It was just anything that was remotely edgy, air quotes, edgy on that was, it was on there. And so it was a whole bunch of crazy content and no one was updating. I was the only one up there who was doing something, every other week.
Mhm.
And it was just terrible. And so after that, I said, no more networks. And I then later went on to get up with a group of podcasters that were doing a hashtag Pod Pals. And
Mhm.
a lot of them are from the UK. A lot of the American side have broken up. And so that's kind of, I mean, it's defunct. In the UK, it's still going, and I still have friends from that experience, but that kind of fell through. And so in doing the RPG with you, you mentioned the network that you get, the Geek to Geek network, media
Mhm.
network that you've been a member of for a long time. And they officially asked me to join last week.
Yay!
So I'm very excited. I, of course, accepted because now that I've met more of you guys, it's a fantastic place. You guys are just very welcoming, very helpful, and it's actually a real network where
Mhm.
people actually care and they're putting out content and they're incorporating with other people and there's actually a secret project coming up that I'm working on that I don't even know if you know about yet. We haven't
I
talked
don't know
about it.
about it, no.
So so when I was it may not happen, but that's why I'm not gonna talk about it on air. But yeah, it's a great group of people who are out there trying to get geek media to the masses
Mhm.
and you know, have a good time while they're doing it. And so I'm very honored to be a member of the Geek to Geek Media Network
Yeah, I'm
officially.
so glad. I've been hoping you'd join for a while because I know the first time a while ago I was like, "Hey, you should ask around and see if it's something." And you're like, "No
Right.
networks,
No networks.
no
Networks
networks."
are they're a bunch of lies and they just want to use your content to bolster and pad up their content. But
But
no,
we're
and also my one of my other concerns is the Geek to Geek Media Network is very family friendly, very
Mhm,
family oriented.
mhm.
And I don't know if you've ever listened to this show or any other show I've ever done with you, but that
Well, Ray and I on Geektitude blew that out of the water a while ago.
right,
Like, I mean,
right,
we definitely swear the f bombs are liberally used, and so
right.
they, we just. It's not that they don't include us in stuff. It's just that we have to put a little mention on it that, hey, this has got the explicit tag, and
Well,
same
yeah.
thing. Talk about like threading the needle. Our episodes of As the Dice Roll are PG-13 at worst.
I know because
And
you warned us, you told us we had to.
yeah, well, he warned you and said we had to.
Yes.
The other one that I'm in, the Horse Feathers saga, literally the F word is dropped within the first 50 seconds of the show.
Yeah.
And so those are all like really like violent, and so it's like if you're subscribing to the feed and you don't know what you're getting into, I have to put in a warning at the beginning of every
Mhm.
episode that no, we swear a lot.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been very strange because and because for my job, I don't swear at work. I mean, for my job, I keep it together. And contrary to popular opinion, I can tone it down and clean it up. And I remember the first time, I think it was Raven on our show, she said a curse word, and I was like, "What? Wait, what do we do?" And I was like waiting for there to be fallout because, like, Raven's just super cool and is going to do what she wants to do. And it was, I mean, like, it's fine, but it was the sort of thing like I noticed it, like, oh no. And then
Mhm.
listening to the first Horse Feathers saga, I was like, wait a damn minute, like, I don't think it's a curse, but I think it's good. Especially for me because I can't rely on it. One of the co-hosts, Roger, is very he. I hate to even say it, but he has kind of a point that like I certainly do. I curse too much, and I use it as a sort of a crutch to try to make an impact. When if I could make the same impact just using a different word, and it
Mhm.
almost is cheap for me to do it because I don't mind cursing, so it's not even really that impactful to hear me do it. And so in as a dice roll, I have been really like, okay, how can I say this without calling these people motherfuckers? 'Cause I would normally call them motherfuckers, and now I've got to be like, okay, what would Rory Shand do if she can't use that word? If we're in a different world and we don't that curse word doesn't even exist anymore.
If
So
she was on network television.
that's right, just straight out murdering folks. But yeah, no, so yeah, so that's part of my big news. One of the things that before I forget, because I always forget to do this, we're going to be doing something. You guys did a full, extensive, immersive you and Ray on Geekitude breakdown of WandaVision,
Mhm.
which was fascinating. And I hated I couldn't listen to it before I did my review because what I would do is just parrot what you guys said. And I was like, no, I got to do
Mhm.
my own review and then I'll go and listen. And then I would listen to you guys and be like, there's so much about comics I don't know. There's so much about this world I have no idea about. so with the Patreon, I'm going to be reviewing Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But what I'm going to do is the first episode is going to come out. It's going to be available to everybody. There's going to be a video and audio element. And if you want the audio element of the following reviews, they're going to be at the $3 level with Patreon. If you want the video and audio, they're going to be at the $5 level. And at the $10 level, you'll just get everything. Because if you're at the $10 level, I bug you. I'll come to your house and be like, I made you these brownies. What can I be doing for you? So so if you've never heard of of the Mating Habits Patreon, go to patreon.com/mating habits. The $3 level will now get you the audio to the what does Kelly think about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and access to the Discord. The $5 level will get you all that plus the video version of what does Kelly think about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and a sheet of stickers that have cute phrases from the show. And the $10 level is all of that plus video episodes and exclusive video content. And I'm going to throw in some sort of Zoom or conference call once a month stealing that idea completely from friend of the show, Will, from Planestalkers podcast, because he was like, "Why don't you have us?" Because we're all in the Discord anyway. The Main Campus Discord is very, very active, more active than I ever thought it would be, and so we're having a good time over there. So think about subscribing to the Patreon. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee every month, you get a lot of free content. So, and that's all right. So we're done talking about Patreon. Let's talk about any other things you got going on
Um,
other
not
than
too
just all your time spent doing editing
just all
real
my time
plays.
spent. Well, it's funny because some of like I have to put in a previously on and a next time on.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are actually not so bad because all I have to do is just listen to the previous and the following episodes and kind of do a time marker, and then I'll just pull the audio. But that gives me time to kind of like fiddle with other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not, and I've been looking into a lot of solo RPG stuff. Did you even know this stuff existed?
No, what is solo RPGing?
Like you can literally play Dungeons and Dragons by yourself.
How is it?
Well, I haven't done it yet, but there is a guy named, what is his name? I'll have to get it to you later, but he runs a thing called Me, Myself, and Die. And
That's so cute.
it's so good.
That's so cute.
It's his YouTube videos of him talking to the camera and playing an RPG by himself. And he's a voice actor. So of course he's playing all the different characters,
Cute.
and he's got a camera set up here and over here. So when they're talking to each other, he just goes like this and he's different characters. And it's very clever. He is the typical voice actor where it's just like voices all over the place. It's just he opens his mouth and just voices spill out.
Right.
And he's very frantic energy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get past that, it is fascinating to watch. It's just like he's just got random tables and he's like, so does this happen? Yeah, that happens. All right. What does it mean? Okay, it means a monster. It's crazy.
Now, is he running from a module? Is he
Yes,
like there's got to be a DM element. There's got to be a surprise element.
Well, there's all sorts of, and I've been looking into this, there's all sorts of things called oracles that are DM replacements. So one is the Mythic DM emulator, which is I think the most famous, and it has a chart that kind of lets you answer yes or no questions.
Like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, but with less railroading.
Gotcha.
And then because what it does is it says like, okay, a random event happens. So then you've got like an adjective and a verb, and those are what you have to come up with as what happens next.
So then it's like Mad Libs. It's like someone to
a little bit, yeah, a little bit. And there's a tarot version. There's there's just all sorts of these emulators that kind of replace the GM, and then you just get a whole bunch of charts, and you're like, all right, what's in this room? Awesome. And so it's just fascinating. So
fascinating.
I'm like obsessed with like learning more.
Well, so there's two things about that. There's the watch out DMs, because now we don't necessarily need you. Which, like I'm just joking. We need the DMs. I don't want to piss them off. But it's one of the reasons why I love RPGs is the fact that you get to interact with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I play video games by myself, and even the video games I play, I interact with other people on. So it's that would be a very fascinating element of wanting to like try out characters or try out a certain system where you are wanting to almost experiment without basically wasting everybody else's time. That's what I would use that for.
Well, and a lot of people, and a lot of people say if you've got a group together and nobody's comfortable GMing yet, that's a good way to start. All right, the group's going to play, and this is going to be our GM. We're gonna, when it's your turn to act, you're going to ask the GM a question, and you're going to roll, and the emulator is going to tell you what to do.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the future's now, I guess. Where's my jetpack?
The future is charts and tables and dice.
What we love. We love it.
We do.
Well, good. Okay. Well, we've talked about all this. I'm looking at, I printed off notes.
Yay.
Because I'm good at this. So the topic of this week's episode is AI matchmaking. Is the tailored algorithm better? And I sent you this link because I was scrolling around on, I think, TikTok, obviously, as what I'm want to do. And it came up for this new dating app called Iris, is the name of the dating app. And it was like scans your face every day to make sure you are who you say you are. And then instantly I thought, oh, good, this is for safety, for like catfishing purposes or that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, okay. But then I started to research it a little bit more, and I don't know, I sent you the link. I got some problems with this dating app.
I am watching these videos and their advertisements, and I'm like, wow, they are so unintentionally shallow. Like
Yes.
they have convinced themselves that this has nothing to do with looks, even though it has everything to do with looks.
I mean, everything as in there's no other basis for it
No.
except looks. So the concept is that you would have to upload pictures that are like in a certain. I think it even talks about like the date and time stamp of the picture. Like you have to like it scans your face and the pictures have to be have to look like you. So you can't have any like I like to do is take a selfie from way up here.
Mhm.
Like no, it's got to be realistic. And then the part that really got me was part of how they match you up with people. Other than there's a rating system in the app itself where you can judge others. So if you see someone and they don't look like their profile or they're not as honest as you would think they would be on their profile, you can rate them down, which I'm like, that's a Black Mirror episode. Like
Yeah.
like that's okay. Don't reject a man on that. Um like you're gonna zero rating. But also the idea that your matches are matched based on your type. So they give you a lot of pictures to swipe on and they figure out what you're attracted to based on what you're picking.
Mhm.
So unless Adam Driver's on this website, I don't know how anybody's going to get a date. Like honestly, like what a weird the whole point of a dating app and a dating site in my opinion is it's a combination of pictures that give you a an idea of generally what this person looks like. And then in their best, these are the pictures that they chose. So it's what they're going to look like at their best. And then you have the profile part, which is where people like me, I'll hook you. I'll hook you with my
Mhm.
personality. But I mean, I'm not even going to make it past the first blush because I already don't fit into most height filters. Most
Mhm.
men who put in the time to put in an actual search will I'll get because I'm 6'1", I'll get edited out in that first go. Then you put out the not athletic, not thin. I'm out in that go. And then if you're just looking at pictures, I'm good looking enough to maybe get you to read what I've said, and then I got you because I'm funny. Like then I got you because I'm like, I play video games. I'm a nerd. Star Wars is awesome, and I mean it. So if you take out all that, I'm not paying this site any money. I'm not going to get any looks. Like nobody's going to even get to me.
Some things just really struck me right off the bat. Like, oh, I'm not looking at my notes. I'm looking at your notes. I have notes somewhere. I have notes. But I remember looking at this and going, okay, so they are um, my Gen Xer is going to start showing here.
Yeah.
So I apologize because I try not to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Um, this app wants to clear the way of any obstacles.
Right.
It's like when you have, because I'm a teacher, it's like when you decide you're going to do like mock government and the kids start going, well, we're going to make this utopia. And then they start asking questions and you're like, oh, well, that doesn't fit in your, like, what happens when somebody commits a crime? And, and now you're screwed because you didn't plan for that. And that's what this is. It's, they have tried to clear the way. They don't want catfish. They don't want, they're giving you badges for being a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just the two quotes from the promotional videos that I thought were very telling was, I just want to find somebody I have that instant attraction with.
Sure.
And those dating sites were trying to find me a match based on common interests, values, and views.
The thing that you build a relationship on.
Yeah. And like it boggled my mind. I audibly chuckled when I heard that because and just for my credentials, I met my husband on Match.com. So
Sure. I met my
I know
husband
that.
on Match. My first husband on
Yeah,
Match.com.
I know the dating apps. Yeah, and the videos went way out of their way to feature non-conventional looking people.
Right, who are not gonna show up in anyone's searches.
No.
Yeah. So here's what boggles my mind. We already have apps for this. They're
Yeah.
called Tinder and Grinder. If you're just looking for hot people, there's an app for that you can just go find hot people, and you don't even have to, look at their profile. But if you're looking for actual matches, honestly, looks have to be number 3, number 4 on the list. Because you could order, I mean, I seem to bring up sex work in every podcast I'm in. So wait for it as the dice rolls. I'll bring it up if I haven't already. But you could go and custom order someone. You could buy a sex doll for that matter. I mean, like you could go and actually just pay to have an interaction with someone who fits your actual physical ideal.
Mhm.
Those things already exist. But to say that this is somehow safer or to market it to I feel like they're trying to market it to women as a way to make sure that they're not. One of the things they said was like, what hurts your trust rating is you post shirtless mirror selfies.
So they're obviously not marketing this to gay men.
Yeah, gay men are right out. Also, that is just a because then they talk about excessive filters on pictures. There are a lot of men out there, not all men, but there are a lot of men out there who feel like makeup is a filter. Who feel like women, they want an all natural looking, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful woman with absolutely no flaws. So
Mhm.
if you're doing duck lips in a photo, you're going to get a bad rating. And there's a whole generation of people, that's all they know how to do. Like that, and it's not their fault. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's a part of the culture. Like it's a thing. Like, this is just how people look like. I feel like this is a way essentially, like I almost feel like there's some sort of white supremacy at the base of this or something. Like it just seems like this is a way to just like filter out everyone who isn't a supermodel. And people who are supermodels, I don't think are on a whole lot of dating sites.
Right. Or if they are, they're there for personality. What are the other ones?
Right, they're there because like I'm tired of dating models who are dumb. I'd like
Yeah.
to date someone who
Common
actually.
interests, values, and views. They're tired of being just looked at for their body. Like this, I do think that the intention behind this was pure,
Yeah.
but it's just faulty reasoning. The shirtless mirror thing got me because I went out with a guy who was very attractive on his picture,
Uh-huh.
and he took off his shirt. Like he knew how to dress himself,
Right.
and he took off his shirt and had man boobs, which is, I'm not judging man boobs, it's
Right.
just not something I find attractive.
Right.
I want to check in with that shirtless picture.
If you feel confident enough to take a shirtless picture of yourself, I that's fine. If that's the only thing on there. And for me, I find that that is really telling of a person's personality.
Mhm.
Because if you're taking a shirtless selfie and you're not some super jack ripped guy, I kind of like that. I kind of like
Mhm.
the fact that like, hey, ladies, this is what I'm bringing. Like, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm not taking a shirtless selfie, but you go ahead. It it seems very judgy. The whole thing seems judgy. It seems like that sort of the pendulum has swung the other way, and now they're being judgy
Mhm.
in a way that if gym rats need love too.
Yeah.
Women who wear lots of makeup or women who use lots of social media filters, you might have to actually speak to them and meet them out in real life and find out that they don't look like that. And also too, there's someone, some she wasn't a comedian. This is like back in the Vine days, or maybe it was a tweet. I don't know. Some woman said, if you're dumb enough to think that my eyelids are gold, I don't have you got other issues. That's your fault. I didn't trick you. You're an idiot. Like
No, it's so true. It like, again, my Gen Xer is showing, like, you have to go through the dating process to
yeah.
understand what you like.
Yeah.
Like, you can't I went on for thinking 3 years, I think I was on Match.com, and I went on some doozy. Plus, you're taking out all of the bad date experiences,
Which you
which
need.
you need and are fun to talk about at
You need for a
parties.
podcast. You need those experiences.
I mean, I went on a date with a guy I called Grover. I don't remember what his name was. There was only one date, but I I show up, round, bald head, that
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I can't. But it's a great story.
So
What else did I say? They're not it's not made for geeks because they took away the gamification. That was one of their selling points. We're not
Yeah.
making a game out of this. It's like, well, if I'm gonna have a crappy dating experience, at least I can like earn points towards something.
Yeah, which I thought which I also think is untrue. I think it you're still it's a different type of game.
Hmm.
It's a game with fewer playable pieces, but it's still the
Hmm.
gamification of it because who I don't know who this is for. It's like when the Bumble app came out, I was like, "Ooh, this is fantastic because women make the first move." And so now it's like, "Oh, so I you get to ignore me even without the initiation. All right, that's fine. Like I get ghosted immediately as opposed to after you've already said, "Hey, what's up?" And then I'm like, "Nothing, what's up with you?" And then I get ghosted. Now I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And then you ghost me. And like maybe like it's some underhanded way to let men ghost first. The same problems happen on Bumble as happen on OkCupid as happen on Match.com. Um, I still to this day, I think that OkCupid has the best generalized algorithm because they'll show you a little bit of everybody. And if
Hmm.
you don't give them too much direction, you can find people who have nothing in common with you, but you still might, like them or find,
Hmm.
they'll show up in front of you and you can make your decision. But the answering the questions, I think, is the most telling because you can go and compare your questions and see what you disagree on. And if you
Hmm.
disagree on Coke or Pepsi, not a big deal. If you disagree on whether creationism should be taught in school, that's a fundamental and we need to maybe not swipe
Yeah.
right on them.
Yeah.
And so I still think that's the best one. Even though I met my ex-husband on Match.com, that was before OkCupid. Because back in the early 2000s, back before OkCupid was a thing, um, it was difficult to find geeks on Match.com because they're like, "Do you like sports?" No. Well, then that's the only thing we have to ask you about. Like, there was not a whole lot of way to find people who had common interests, and maybe they've changed it because I haven't been on there in a long time. 'Cause you have to pay to be on Match, but I'm not paying. But I expect men to just find me in the wild, which is why I'm single. But but, but yeah, this is a step in the wrong direction, and it looks so pretty. It looked like they
Mhm.
had really like, oh, a brand new thing, and it's like, no, what you've done is made it actually way more difficult for people with personality to find anybody.
Yeah.
And you tried to make it where it's going to be less shallow, and you're absolutely right. It's the most shallow thing you can do is base people on what their face looks like today,
Yeah.
this morning
That's
as they
what
wake up.
that and that's the thing that I was laughing at is like they are so earnestly like, this is great. We're not shallow. It's just about like several times, it's just about that spark of attraction. And it's like, no, it's about how people look.
Yeah, yeah,
It's about because attraction's not just a picture. Like you can see somebody walking by and they don't necessarily have the facial features that you like, but you're like,
right,
damn, their confidence or
right.
the way they carry themselves or their voice. We've had conversations about that recently.
Yes.
That sometimes voice you're like, hmm.
Okay,
Um,
interesting.
so it's one of those things where you're not getting the point. You think you're getting the point, and I see where you're coming from, but you've missed the boat completely.
Yeah, and this whole idea about catfishing, I was catfished once, and that person I never even got to the point of like, let's meet up, and
Mhm.
that person would have never met up with me. So yes, it didn't that something like this would have saved me some time, but that was one time. I've been online dating for many, many, many years, and it's not catfishing like that. Like maybe like on the sugar baby end of things, it's more difficult. Like maybe it is harder for men. Maybe men are getting catfished. Straight men are getting catfished by women who just want their money.
Maybe I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know. But this iris ain't the solution.
Well, yeah, because you can still want somebody just for their money and not be catfishing. Like
Yeah.
you can't force people to be good people. Like that's
No.
just it's just not possible.
And all this algorithm is going to do is make me not find the person that would actually be a good person, a good choice for me to date.
Hmm.
Once again, I'm going to be like, there are no results because it's like you're going to show me photos of like is Chris Evans on this site? Is Adam Driver on this site? Well, then I might
Hmm.
as well just delete it from my phone because that's the picture I'm attracted to. Now, I've never dated a man who looked like either of those two men, and I don't know anyone in real life who looks like either of those two men. And I'm sure that those two men, we would not work out in dating. So it's like, how is this helpful?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, here's my wish list. I don't think you got that.
I really want to see where this go. Like, I would love to follow somebody who actively participates in this app and just see what their experience is like,
Yeah.
because I just can't even fathom like the awkwardness of those dates when you literally have zero in common.
I don't think you'll ever even get to the date because you can't get through the conversation. That's what the whole you look through someone's profile to find out what to ask them about or to find.
Hmm.
Oh, and pay attention, men. That's how you carry a conversation. Um, when I say, "Oh, you were in a play about such and such and such and such," that sounds really interesting, and they go, "Yep, nope, that's not a conversation. You asked me something about myself. I read your crap, and I just comment on it. I deserve a conversation."
My
But
my favorite conversation when I was on Match.com was this considerably older. I was about 27 at the time. This guy in his 50s um, messaged me, and I looked at his profile picture, and I was like, no, 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 sorry. And it wasn't about traction; it was about the content of his pictures. And he's like, hey, I just got on this app. I'm trying to figure out, the best way to go about this. He was really sweet. He's like, I'm not pushing you into anything, but can you give me some feedback on my profile so that
that's
maybe I
nice.
have better work? And I was like, that's awesome. Good for you.
Right.
So the first thing you need to do is take off the picture of you shaking hands with Ronald Reagan, because not exactly a friend of Dorothy.
Right. It's like,
And
sir,
this,
sir, you're a homosexual. I don't know if you're aware.
well, he had just come out. He was a late bloomer, a really late bloomer.
Oh.
And so he was like, friend of Dorothy. And I'm like, oh, my friend, we have so much work to do.
Oh no.
But it was
Fresh.
fun conversation, and
Yeah.
just based on his profile, I'm like, you're not going to be a match, but hey, we can have a couple conversations and talk. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I can't believe they didn't mention the fish pictures in thing, which I'm sure is not the same way on non-heterosexual based sites, but just the fish pictures.
Is that a thing? Is that
It's
really a thing?
it's such a thing that there's two pretty big Instagram accounts where they just post these pictures of men that they've interacted with online that have the fish pictures in their profiles. And what we're talking about, audience, is where guys will show you pictures of a fish they caught. Look, I'm a fisher. I like to fish. I enjoy fishing. I have 3 fishing poles. Like, I enjoy it. I don't care about you caught a fish. What's that? It's a weird brag. It's like a
Not the flex I think you think it is.
right. And like, I mean, show where you cooked that fish. For me, like that would be more
Mhm,
impressive because a lot of times you just throw these things back, and I'm like, you could have stayed inside. What are you doing?
mhm.
I fish to eat the fish I catch, so I don't, that's why I do it. Um, but but yeah, so the fish pictures, there's the 2 Instagram accounts about it, and someone also on these things that someone made some joke about how with the amount of hiking that when they go hiking, they've never seen these people who are also apparently hiking and kayaking. When they go, they're not there because there's always a picture. When rock walls came out, then it became they were always climbing a rock wall.
Mhm.
These gentlemen, here are the quintessential. This is the starter pack of I'm a dude on a dating site. You have a picture of you with 5 other guys. You're all wearing sunglasses at night at a bar. I don't know why, but you thought it was funny at the time. Also, this is a bad idea because you got 3 really good looking other friends. And you just showed me that.
You are my entry point, my friends.
Exactly. I'm gonna fuck all y'all. I don't know if you know this. Ask around at the local friend groups I have. I'm gonna make my way up to the taller one. Um, this is what I do. But so there's that photo. There's a photo of either you're on a mountainside, like you climbed a mountain, or you're in a kayak on some sort of body of water kayaking, or you're climbing a rock. You're rock climbing. Either you're climbing a mountain, either you're at the bottom and you're about 2 feet up, or you're in a gym doing that sort of climb. I say this full well knowing I have a picture of myself on my dating profile on top of Mount San Jacinto with you guys. where you guys are both on rocks because I'm so much taller than you guys. I'm standing on the ground so that we'll be in the same shot. But I like to warn people that I'm tall. I like to give full body photos, and that was one of the only ones I had. but yeah, so those are like, and then there's the I caught a fish. And it's so prevalent. And what was so funny is our friend Bama, who's also on As the Dice Roll, and he does he's a Twitch streamer and he's part of the network. He's so funny because he has a YouTube channel where he fishes. And so he was like, when I came out with that and he heard it, he was like, I feel personally attacked by this. And he posted a picture of him with a fish, and I was like, I keep trying to swipe right and nothing's happening. Like,
well, that's I haven't put together. I just haven't had the time. I haven't put together the bios page for As the Dice Roll, but I'm pretty sure he's holding a fish.
Yeah, he's holding a fish.
He's holding a fish,
which is great. I mean, he's married. It's not a thing, but it's still it's the idea. Like, yeah, it is. It's a thing, and it's so much of a thing. There are TikToks made of it. There's a I think there's an Instagram account or a Twitter account where they Photoshop the fish holding them in.
That's awesome.
It's just everybody, and they're like, oh, no one's done this. All people think that they're so original, myself included, and it's all been done before. So,
okay, so if you want, gentlemen, if you want to take a picture that is going to pull people, I will tell you what my husband did. He and his friends told him to take the picture down, and I told him that was the best decision he's ever made. He had a picture of himself blowing bubbles, like with a kid's bubble blowing toy, and I was like, this guy doesn't take himself too seriously,
right?
And that was the thing that made me wink at him.
That's so sweet. I love
so do something sweet and fun like that. Like, yeah. Like that shows your personality, that shows you don't take yourself too seriously. And if you can't come up with something, you take yourself too seriously.
Sorry about it. These are facts. So what do we think about this whole move towards letting the algorithm, like I said in the title, letting the algorithm sort of choose for us? Because I'll start out by saying, I say it all the time, I welcome my Google and Amazon overlords. I love an algorithm because I love things to be marketed directly to me. I don't want to see a bunch of, things for Lululemon leggings. I'm never going to buy those. Give me ads for Le Creuset. I might buy that. Like, that's something I'm interested in. So I like the targeted narrow advertising because I shop a lot and I go to the internet to be told what's new so that I may consume it. Mm-hmm. I mean, am I part of the problem? Like what? Like with this way we're trying to sort of beat everybody to the punch and figure out what people want before they want it. Very, very. We're in a Mad Men sort of situation. We're very, very, almost unscrupulous with the advertising part of it. If we turn that to dating, if we turn that to social media, where are we all going to end up on a parlor of some sort, like with our own echo chambers and?
Well, probably, but I mean, if you're trying to get the algorithm to find you a date, this is not the way to do it, because the amount of complexity that goes into the algorithms that we see for advertising is not this. I would totally like if I was dating again and you looked at my browsing data and you matched me with somebody who had similar browsing data, that's intriguing to me because we obviously are into the same stuff. Like, right. It's not just that we say we are. I mean, I put hiking in my profile, but do I love hiking? No, I just, I'll do it.
Like, I've been outside once.
I've been outside.
I walked one time.
I mean, I do enjoy it, but it's not like an everyday type of enjoyment. It's like, oh, a fun thing to do this month. Next month, we'll try something else. But if I'm constantly looking up hiking trails and I'm constantly looking up places to go and travel, and you match me with somebody who is also looking at a bunch of hiking trails and places to go to travel, then at the very least, you found somebody that is going to be a friend that does the same stuff as you do.
That is a good point. I'm trying to think about my search history. Would be people who would be local looking for where does DoorDash deliver. That would be that would be like, you're hungry too? Awesome.
So you start that introvert dating relationship.
Look, it's the COVID times when it's otherwise I'm looking at restaurant menus, but like to go to the restaurant to eat, but it's all menu based. That's what I'm always Googling is what time does the Mexican restaurant open? Um, what is the healthiest thing I can get at the Mexican restaurant that still has cheese on it? Like those are my
Well, and
searches.
it's problematic for certain professions, because I have a friend who's an author, and she posted on Facebook a long time ago that was like, just Googled what does death smell like. That's in my search history forever. So there's some people that might find that that's not the best thing for them.
Oh God, that just made me think. I wonder if there could be like some sort of like Pornhub plugin, no pun intended, where you could have somebody who searches the same Pornhub searches that you do,
I'm sure there could be.
because then you'd be into the same stuff. Patent pending, patent pending, patent pending. That's $1 billion idea. I don't know anything about apps or the same. I don't know anything about computers. I don't know how to do it,
But we can find someone.
we can find someone. I'm gonna go on this dating app and find them and be like, now here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna break this code, we're gonna steal it, and then we're gonna apply it to the Pornhub. We're gonna get people matched up with who their true soulmates are.
I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's when you said search history, I was like, oh, yeah, search history, yeah.
Well, but the other thing is that I certainly don't get a lot of stuff that based on that search history on my Facebook advertisements. So,
True.
I think the algorithm is smart enough that they can go, well, yeah, he looked it up, but nobody wants to know about it.
No, meanwhile, the FBI is making a list. So the
Oh
FBI,
yeah.
the FBI is like, you've searched for that one too many times.
Oh, I make my FBI agent face palm, I'm sure, on a daily basis.
Oh God, good times. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm one of those people that I don't weep for the future. I don't think that kids have too much screen time. I think that every new thing has fears to people who weren't raised with it.
Mhm.
So, they used to say that rock music was going to make us all go to hell, and then rap music or hip hop, and then, TV was bad at one point. And now it's like, get off that screen and look at the TV screen. Like, we just change and adapt, and we'll all figure it out. And believe me, humanity will continue like a plague. But
That's our advantage as Zennials, because you and I are the hub. What is it called? Is it hub?
or cusp.
Cusp. The
Yeah,
cusp
the exennial
generation.
cusp.
Yeah, we're the Star Wars generation. We're like,
Yes,
ooh, new technology. How can I use it?
exactly. I was the one who was so irritated. I'm like, in college when other people weren't using email because it was new, and I'm like,
Mhm.
get on this email thing. It's
It's the
amazing.
greatest.
I could just send you a message, and they're like, what was this? Will never take off. As I'm talking to them on a phone, like
Yeah,
this
I
will
was
never take
just
off.
thinking that. Yeah, rotary.
Exactly. I remember I had a cordless phone in college, and I was like, I am the bomb.com. Like, this is the best thing. I can
Oh,
go from any room.
when I first started teaching, I went out and bought because you're running around in the classroom and they call you every 5 minutes to say, is this student there? Is that student there? I had like a phone setup that was meant for a big 2-story house. So I would
Hmm.
have little chargers in like every corner, and
Yeah.
just like, here's my receiver. Here we go. Let's do this.
This we're boring the hell up. I don't care. When I moved to my first house, I spent $200 on it. This is before, like, I had a cell phone. I've had a cell phone since 95 that charged 45 cents per minute. And you use it when your car broke down. You don't call
Mhm.
anybody on that cell phone. That's a cell
No.
phone that your dad got for you because you were going away to school, or he wanted to make sure you could call home.
Mhm.
And so I had this, but I had this Panasonic. It was silver, and it was like small. It was like this big. It had the big like rubber antenna. It was a
Yes.
2.4 gigahertz, and it had a little clip on it, so I could wear it around the house. In the event someone called, I was right there to say,
Mhm.
what is it? What's the sitch? Like, and to think like I had people's phone numbers printed out on a piece of paper near the phone because I had to
Mhm.
call them to tell them where the
Mhm.
party at.
Or
Now,
in a little book that you would flip
exactly.
through, or a Rolodex.
And to think now when someone calls, I'm like, what the fuck? Don't call. What are you calling for? We didn't
because
pre-plan this.
because as Zennials, we have truly like we go with the tide of technology, and
Where's
they're
he
like,
at?
damn millennials. It's like, no, we're not Gen X, we're not millennials, we're right there. We're the ones who like go with what is the newest thing
Right.
because we're used to it.
For the last time my iPhone updated, it's for whatever reason, and I don't want to hear it, Android people. I get it. For whatever reason, it stopped being a phone. Like I couldn't get incoming calls, and it completely destroyed my voicemail box.
Oh no.
But who cares? Nobody calls me, and so like the only people who were trying to call me were people from work who were over the age of 60, and my parents' friend who's 70 something. And both of them called and kept calling, and I could tell that I'd missed a call, but it never rang, and so I could call them back. And
Mhm.
I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Your voicemail doesn't work, and your phone didn't ring very long." And I'm like, "It doesn't matter. I didn't even know this was a thing. Like, no one calls me but you two. What? What do you want? What? Like, text me. What?" Like, this could have been an email. And yeah, and so now it's so funny whenever I want to like talk to you on the phone, I text you and I'm like, "Are you up for a call?" Like,
Yes. Yeah, we double check, and then we apologize the entire time. I'm so sorry. I'm so
yes,
sorry that we did this.
I'm so sorry, but I had too much to say to type. And so
I'm calling you out of pure laziness.
exactly. Please forgive me.
Oh, do you want to hop on Zoom instead? Sure, let's do it.
Or better yet, like I communicate with most of my friends through video games where we hop on and go through that chat and get it all out. Yeah, but then be like, all right, see y'all later. Quit talking to me. I'm gonna do this now. It's so funny. But yeah, you're right. Like I love new technology. You know, I love and podcasting is one of those things where I love getting into like the new mics and which we were talking about lights before we got on.
Yeah,
People, I live in a basement. I'm
yeah.
underground. So the lighting is not ideal. It's the best I can do. Almost grainy in all my videos. But yeah, like it I don't know. I don't fear AI necessarily. I love the fact that I can turn on my lamps talking to the Amazon lady with the name with an A, which I won't say her name because when you say her name in 3 different rooms, she's like, I didn't understand that question or whatever. So I love all that stuff. When they make a walking talking robot that you can make look like whatever celebrity you want, then that's it. See y'all later. I'm never leaving the house again.
Have you watched Being Human? Not Being Human. That's the one. Humans? I don't
Yes.
know the one with Jenna Chang,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I want that
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I'm
because
100% fine with that.
they added an Android guy on there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Matt, we're ordering 2 of
I know.
those.
I'm right. I'm like, I'll take two.
One.
I'll take two. When it gets to that level, I don't care. It's like this fear that we're all gonna get plugged into chairs and get real big and fat and then just like feed ourselves into a virtual reality. I've already got the big and fat part down. Like I just want to be fed into the virtual reality.
Same.
I'm on the couch, y'all. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
You can plug me into a place where I'm gonna look like Chris Evans. Awesome. Let's
I'm
do
there. I'm there. I don't get it. Like this whole like fear of this sort of thing. And yes, eventually they'll kill us all, but I'll be dead by then, and
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
fine with that. And it's probably time. But but yeah, no. So I feel that for dating, the AI is hurting us in the iris.com iris dating app. I feel like they've made a miss there. Um, we use attraction DNA. Get the fuck out of here. You use symmetry. Facial symmetry is what you're using.
I just want to be well, first I want to be on those dates. I want to be a fly on the wall to just see the pure awkwardness of these dates where they have nothing to talk about. And then I want somebody like what's his name who does Borat?
Sasha Baron Cohen.
Yes, to just, somebody who's that kind of sense of humor to just, get himself on there and just go to town. Like the amount of fun that can that's a YouTube channel all its own.
I tell you what, it's good times. Good times. All right. Well, so you want to move on to table flips?
Sure.
So I will go first. Um, I'm going to flip a table over this whole wife of a blank culture. It's something that once again I didn't really even think about until someone brought it up on Twitter. And it's where women get these shirts or bumper stickers or coffee mugs or whatever in the hell that say wife of a firefighter, wife of a policeman, wife of a lineman, which is a thing, which is what the tweet was about. Like someone who fixes your power lines, wife of a first responder, wife of a soldier. Like there's all this wife of stuff. And what this person said was, I'm married to a lineman. He needs a husband of a nurse shirt.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, like what? I've never in my life, this pride that people take in other people's accomplishments. I just don't get it. And it's one of those things where a lot like multi-level marketing, it's geared towards women I think, to oppress them. This idea of I'm a wife of a fireman. Well, what do you do? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
is your whole job strictly to keep him fed and to like, are you working on the truck at all? Like, what is it that you do? Like, he's over there feeding himself. Firemen famously stay there all day and cook for the. What are you doing for him?
Right.
Like the soldier one, I get a little bit because these are people who not conscripted. I can't use that term because that's a military term. They have signed away their lives for my safety. And in
Yeah.
some way, I get it with cops and first responders and firemen too, fire people too. But it's the wife of. Why are you
Mhm.
proud that you convinced someone to marry? It's a weird sort of like it brings it invokes like dowries and my place is at home waiting for him to get home kind of thing. I
It's
can't.
making your entire identity about somebody else.
Yes, I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I com-
and in the same way that I have put my foot down about this when I got divorced, but I'm never ever ever 1000% changing my name ever again ever. And I didn't change my name the first time I added his last name to my name, so I kept all my names, but it was so demoralizing and embarrassing for me to have to go and get the state to give me back the name that my parents gave me. That is
Mhm.
my name.
Mhm.
And never again. And my rebuttal to the, oh, well, it's traditional or oh, whatever. Well, then you take my name. You want to be a high
Yeah.
tower? I'm all about it. I'm happy to. You're welcome into the fold. You can take my name, but I be goddamn, I ain't taking your name. I'm not changing
Mm-mm.
anything about my name. It's ridiculous. You don't own me. You're not. Hell, at this point, if your credit score isn't above mine, we're not even going out on a date. So at this point, I've got my own money. I've got my own homes. I've got my own shit. I'm 43 years old. I don't want any babies. I don't need anybody. So the idea that I would then become Mrs. So and so,
Mhm.
fuck off out of here.
That
I'm never
that
doing
is
it.
an antiquated thing that I think we need to just, especially when I found out how much work it is to change it in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's like I don't have time for that. That's
It's
valuable video game playing time.
exactly. There is an argument that if you're going to have children with someone, everybody having the same last name can be less confusing. I guess for stupid people who doesn't understand. You're like, this is my kid. Y'all have different last names. I don't know what to do. Like, like blended families don't exist. Like people don't die. Like divorce isn't prevalent. Like it's just. I mean, do what you want to do. It's your choice. Never, not me.
Mm-mm,
Never,
mm-mm,
ever, ever, ever. And like I said, if someone wants to become, Mr. Kelly Hightower, I'm all about it.
mm.
And in at least in this state, either party can change their name when you're married for free. So, I mean, have at it. You can change you can dress like me if you want to. I don't care. But I ain't changing shit. So, so yeah, I don't like the wife of a whatever culture. I think you need to have your own hobbies. You need to find that you can be proud of your spouse,
Yeah.
certainly be proud of the work that they do. And you get respect from me if I find out that like,
Mhm,
oh, your spouse, because that's the other thing too. I don't assume you're married to a man. I don't assume I don't assume any of that. This idea of like my spouse works in this dangerous job. Oh, good on you. But don't put a
mhm.
bumper sticker on there like, oh, that's a wife of a EMT. I better give them all kinds of extra respect. You could be a horrible wife to that EMT. You could make his job worse. You could make your EMT spouse bad at their job because you're a terrible wife. I don't know. So that's my table flip. I don't like it. So what about you? What are you flipping the table over today?
The idea that they're gonna send us back to school before the end of the year.
Really?
I ours is not for sure yet, but there's a lot of talk about it, and I just kind of I'm gonna use this as a platform.
If you're listening, school board.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't get what the problem is. when teachers went to online teaching, we literally had days, if not hours, to figure out how to do it.
Right.
And we have been spending all of this time trying to figure out how to get it to work. And that's valuable invested time that we've put into it. And more importantly, those students now have a routine. It is an imperfect routine. There's a lot of students falling through the cracks. But what they're asking us to do is not go back to what we normally do, but most are going back to hybrid, which means that we're both teaching online and in person at the same time.
Oh my God.
And I'm not talking about like during the same school day. I'm saying I will have live students and online students at the same time.
So you're giving both sets of students half the attention.
So I'm giving both set of students half the attention. I have basically 7 or 8 weeks that I'm going to have to do this. They are not going to make any exceptional gains in those 7 or 8 weeks that they're not going to be able to make online. And I'm a theater teacher, so teaching theater online is awful. So it's not that I don't want to go back. I would go to back yesterday if it was like back to normal. But for the next 7 or 8 weeks, if we go back after spring break, we're going to have to do hybrid. So when you hear people saying, send the teachers back, send the kids back, realize what you are asking. You are asking the students to get less attention from the teacher, and you are asking for the teachers and the students to put themselves into health risks because we still don't have COVID under control.
Right.
So that's my table flip because, oh my God, I'm so tired of like, California is supposed to be this very liberal minded state, but they're threatening to like mandate that we go back. At least I'm in a district that's like, unless they make us, we're not going to.
Right.
But yeah, so that's where we're at with that.
So if I ran the world,
Mhm.
y'all would be so lucky. No, but because if you were listening to this podcast, you get secret tips. But if I ran the world, it seems to me like it would be more beneficial to hey Sheldon, more beneficial to complete the year like they're doing because they're in this pattern. And then perhaps I don't know what time of the month in August school starts for you guys out in California, but here it starts at like mid August.
Yeah, we're early August.
Have 2 weeks where kids come to school before the beginning of the school year and make it mandatory where they just get reacclimated to coming to school. Because by August, we will have enough of a handle on it where at least I would personally feel comfortable going back. I think that I mean, unless there's some huge, I mean, like maybe not in Texas, but unless there's some huge upswing, I think that with everyone being able to get vaccinated starting May 1, I think that that will give enough time for the majority of the people to have who want a vaccine to get one. And so you give them 2 weeks to get used to going back to school, because if you don't do that 2 weeks ahead of time, the first 2 weeks of school are going to be wasted because they're going to be so excited, nervous, anxious, upset, off of their routine to even be around that many people at one time. Not to mention whatever rules you've put in place for how they have to be apart from each other, how they have to sit at lunch, how they have to wear a mask, you wash their hand, whatever you got them doing at whatever age levels. You get that 2 weeks before just to get in, see everybody, meet everybody, do a couple of exercises that don't really count for much, but will get them reacclimated, and then try the new year out. But to come back in with the last 6, that you've now taken a bad situation and made it now worse. And it's not going to help anybody. And there is a potential for people to still get sick. It just seems like such a dumb idea.
Yeah,
And
it just doesn't make sense.
I know why they're doing it, because I know that parents are sick of having their kids at home, and parents want to go back to work. And I understand that. And I think that our government should have a system of some sort of childcare credit or some sort of way for you to be able to get help with that. I absolutely do. Socialist here. I've been trying to get that for years. Don't blame me. I agree with you. You should have some sort of assistance. It isn't just a check a year and a half out for not enough money. But that's your choice. You had kids, so you had to figure out what was going to go on, what was going to go on with them. And I have lots of sympathy for you. But I also think that this is a huge. This isn't a fix. That seems so crazy.
Yeah, and I get it, because they're like, again, I've got like 60% of my kids are well, that's probably not true anymore. Maybe 55% of my kids are getting Fs in theater and stagecraft because they don't show up, because they've got other things, because they're taking care of their younger brothers and sisters. So I get it. Like, this is not good for the
No,
kids.
it's not.
But
I would have failed for you. I would have not done any. If you told me I could not show up to something or I could have had a way to slip through, I definitely would have.
oh yeah, I've got agreements with some of my kids. I understand you're playing video games right now. Just keep your headphones on so you can hear what I'm talking about.
Right.
But
This is going to
but
be like
in
meetings at
all
your job.
fairness, in between last semester and this semester, I have maybe 55% of my kids failing, where like 60% of my kids were failing last semester. So it's getting better.
Right.
And but I do understand, it's just, if anybody who has tried to take a bunch of stuff off of a counter and move it to another counter, you always drop stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you're
Yeah.
doing. You're going to have
Yeah.
us move from one place to another, and we're just going to drop stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, and I say this from a place of ultimate privilege. I kept my job through the pandemic. I had to go into work, which is why I got to get my shot earlier than other people. I get my second shot 2 weeks from now.
Yay.
But the this is just a blip. 10 years from now, barring no other pandemics, we will be talking about, remember that horrible 2020 and half of 2021.
Hmm.
It's a blip. It is
Hmm.
not whatever happened in this past year and a half, everyone gets a social pass for. If you're a straight A student and you got Fs in this one, no college is not going to take you because you didn't. Everybody is suffering. Everybody's having a less than ideal time.
Hmm.
And so if you can just kind of keep that in perspective, like I said, I say from a privileged place because I have not really been that affected by it. It will get better and it will be in the past at some point, and no one is going to hold you accountable for it
Mm-mm.
in that, well, why didn't you do more? Why didn't you do better? We're all doing our best. Like it's like those
Yeah.
memes, like everybody's there just trying to do their best. And some people are trying to come up with good solutions. Some people are just trying to appease other people. And then when you try to appease people, you sometimes end up with bad solutions to
Mm.
things. And I think that's an example of what's going on with you. And the kids will be fine. Kids are adaptable.
Yeah.
The kids who are growing up and going through this, they will be the generation that grew up and went through this. The same generation that in World War II had to hide under their desks during air raids and had to go into bunkers. Nobody holds that against them. No one was like, "What were you doing? Your grades fail when you were hiding out from the Germans, blitzkrieg. Why weren't you reading your studies then? Why weren't why weren't you doing community service at the time?" No one's gonna. That's all that crap's
I don't
gone.
know, bombs.
Right. It's because it's all, and also too, we often forget all that crap is meaningless anyway.
Hmm.
None of us remember what we learned in sixth grade.
No.
I mean, honest to God, we had to do it, and there is a benefit to school certainly, and we should keep doing it, and we should probably do a little bit more than we do. But if none of us ever did sixth grade and we went straight from fifth right into seventh, struggled a little bit through seventh, we'd be right back on track with eighth, and we're fine. Like everything's
Hmm.
fine. So yeah, and I say this, I've got good friends who have been at home for this whole time with their young children, and they're like, just someone come kidnap these kids. Like I can't. Some of them have been able to have the benefit to adapt and do like helping with the teaching or that sort of thing, but I know I can't imagine. Just making enough nuggets to feed kids seems like a daunting task to me. So I just don't. I couldn't do it. So good luck to everybody out there. It'll be over soon. Come hell or high water, it'll be over soon. But yeah. Well, so what is your Hugo, your comforting good thing that makes you feel good this week?
School librarians. Like, I have yet to meet a school librarian who's not just like the most motivating, helpful, wonderful person in the
Hmm.
world. So if you've got money that you want to throw up somewhere, throw them at schools and like tell them you want it to go to whatever their library program is, whatever the district library program or the school library program, because school librarians just kind of get forgotten in the shuffle. Most of them are teachers with credentials,
Hmm.
and they are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I loved my school librarians, and I've got two of my friends are actually like master's degree level public librarians.
Hmm.
And one of them who's still working in that field, she's constantly doing stuff with the kids. I mean, like doing little craft fairs and stuff, and like getting kids in sort of an inner city environment to come to the library on a weekend. I'm like, you're winning in life. You're a
Hmm.
good person because I couldn't do it. Like, get out of here.
Well, and talk about people who adapt to technology. They're like, what else is there that we can add to this? Like, how
Oh
can we
yeah.
give more books to more people? Like, they're on top of it.
I even just I looked. Do you see me looking around as if someone's in my apartment, going to listen in on the secret I'm about to broadcast to space? Um, a friend of mine works at a library system of a town I'm not a member of, but it's a
Mhm.
much better library system, and they have a much better e-library than my little hometown. And I have an account registered at her address so that I may access ebooks. We're breaking the law. It was one of those deals where I came by the library. It's like, do you have the hookup? And she's like, come to my office. I've got the hookup. And I was like, I'm in there.
I want to be the judge that rules over that crime. You did what now?
Especially now, considering I work in the court system. So this would be like, why, Ms. Hightower, why are you on the docket for today? We're like, well, Your Honor, I allegedly did a bad thing. I checked out an ebook that was not available in my county.
Have you paid your fines? Yes.
No, I returned it on
time
time.
served.
Exactly. I'm sorry to take up the court's time. So, well, that's a good one. My Hugo for the week is seeing it's the volunteers who work at these mass vaccination sites. The one I went to, because you know how people organize things and sometimes it can just be a real clusterfuck. And I'm always concerned that I'm like, okay, because there's so many moving pieces to the vaccination deal. And because, people could have an allergic reaction and die from it. It's a big deal.
Mhm.
So where I was, it was set up at a high school, and you of course you never got out of your car. It was a drive around sort of thing. And I don't want to say anything that might upset people, but it was all women. It was the women who ran this and women who were at all stations. And these are all women who work in the healthcare profession. It went off without a hitch. My appointment was at 3:10. I got there at 3. They let me go in. I had my shot by 3:15, or actually 3:14, and I was able to leave at 3:29 because they had to monitor me for 15 minutes. So I went in and got a vaccination quicker than I would have been able to walk into a CVS and get a flu shot by far.
Yeah.
And not only was it well oiled, I called and made the appointment. And when I got there, my name was on a clipboard. They checked it off. They handed me the stuff. I go to station 2, station 3, station 4. Everyone's bright, smiling faces. They've been there all day, and it was cold, windy and cold. They're having a great time. And so I'm trying to like laugh with them and like, I've never been so excited to get a shot, kind of thing. And everybody's in good spirits. It was just completely wonderful. And I told at the end when they gave me my appointment for the second shot, and they actually gave me the shot. That was flawless. I'm not going to talk about what happened when I went home, but that was, I don't want to discourage anybody from getting the Moderna shot. But let's just say when it hurts, it's working. But the actual shot itself did not hurt at all. And of course, these are professionals. And just everyone had information ready, knew exactly how to answer questions, knew exactly where to tell me to go. And it just made me feel so good because I was like, even in this sort of crisis time, I mean, I'm being forced to go to a different town to get a vaccine. Like, we're in some zombie level end time shit right here.
Yeah.
And it could not have been a nicer or better experience. And so shout out to all those ladies, it was all women, all those ladies who were running that whole thing. They knew what they were doing. So that made me feel good. I was like, well, it's at least somebody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I've gotten both my shots, and both times so easy. And you're right, everybody's smiling. We had a couple of firemen that were kind of just directing traffic. That was what
that's what the cops were. The male cops were directing the traffic to get in there, but once they released us, it was all nurses.
It was all nurses.
All female nurses.
All nurses, and they did a great job. And they were very friendly. And you're right, they've got to be exhausted because we'd go in the afternoon because I'd have to go after work.
Yeah.
And absolutely wonderful, but yeah, no, good. They're doing great work.
They really are. And I think that once this is all over, we'll be quick to forget how much extra work they had to do.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't. We should get a holiday. They should make a federal holiday for the COVID first responders. And then we should all be able to take it.
Yes. I concur with your findings.
Now that I work for the state, I enjoy these holidays. We're so irritated to be like, the post office is closed. I don't care about veterans. And then I'd hear what I'd say. I go, okay, don't say that. But like now I'm like, all these people should be respected and deserve their own holiday because I won't have to go into work. Um, well, Joe, this has been fantastic.
Yes, we don't hang out enough.
I know. Where can people find all your stuff and how can they get in touch with you?
You can find our podcast on pretty much everywhere. We've got As the Dice Roll, which you and I are on. I've got Geektitude, where my friend Ray and I and occasionally guests just geek out about whatever we're excited about. And right now we're on a Marvel high, so it's just Marvel, 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 Marvel. But you can find me on Twitter at Epic Grays. You can find the show on Twitter at Geektitude, and you can always send me an email at joehogan@geektitude.com.
Good. Like I said at the beginning, if you would like to join the Patreon for just $3 a month, it's super simple, super easy. You can be getting access to the audio feed of the What Does Kelly Think About the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and you can get access to the Discord, which is hopping. But you can go to patreon.com/matinghabits and find out more information on that. If you want to email me, you can at moderngeekcast@gmail.com. You can follow us at Twitter. We're not at Twitter, on Twitter at Mating Habits. And you can find the link to this show, all the show notes that I'm going to post, and all of the past episodes and a word cloud to find your favorite host, all that cool stuff at matinghabits@themoderngeek.com. And if you can't leave us a review on iTunes, because I know that's real hard to do, and that's not sarcastic, it really is, just tell a friend about the show. We've been getting a lot of new listeners, and I'm very excited about that. It's very motivating, and I'm looking forward to what's coming up with the Geek to Geek Media Network and working with you more in the future, Joe.
Yes.
All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.